relevant to something related to content consumption, and that was making sure that your users can actually engage with your app even when they're offline, right? So the goal of this was to actually provide an uninterrupted app experience regardless of your internet connectivity. And again, this was really, really interesting. Even though the audience size was around 50,000 to 100,000, they did use SMS. And I think the goal itself was very interesting. And the idea to start away with a push notification to solve this was really nice. So Shivangi, what do you think about this campaign? And this was, by the way, implemented by an Indian marketer. So I think you would be really happy to take a dig at it.
Oh, I want to know who, because this is absolutely interesting to see that somebody is actually tapping onto this. This is one of our pitch cases as well, right? Why not tap into the user base which is consuming your content offline? Because not everyone is doing this. Like, you might be standing out. So this is one of my favorites for that matter, because we are headed in the right direction. Segmentation is in place wherein we are understanding that, that whether the user is on a 2G, 3G or a 4G connection, right? And accordingly approaching them. There is SMS as well being tapped into, because again, covering the full base that is not reachable by pushes, let's say, right? And I think pushes again is a great choice to tell your users that you're there for them and trying to provide the goal of the campaign, which is the uninterrupted app experience. So that's a great way. Even click-through rates are well within the benchmark of around 2.1% is what we see. They're close, but it's good enough, right? Because the campaign is still moving towards the right direction, right? Now let's focus on some of the things that could be done. My only 2 cents here would be to move on to triggers yet again and see your numbers shoot up. We cannot stress enough that triggers are an absolutely better performing campaign than segmented user reach outs, scheduled reach outs, purely given the context, because triggers automatically take context of the campaign into consideration, right? So where these are real-time offline triggers that I'm talking about, wherein which are capable of identifying users' behavior even in the dark, that is, even when the user is offline, and will definitely help you reach a better conversion number of around a 55%, which is what we usually see in the industry today, right? So triggers is one. Second is, again, make them more contextual by understanding where your users are, right? Because offline content consumption could also be a factor of understanding, where is the user coming from, right? So I say, let's say, add geofencing, not geolocation, right? Wherein you get to know which part of the country the user is in, but rather knowing where exactly the user is right now. Like, is he boarding a train or is he at an airport, right? Things like that will help you contextualize the messaging of the push even better by saying that, hey, since you're currently at the airport, why not just download your content to consume later, right? Or another way to look at it, let's say, would be if the users are actually in a shaky internet connection altogether, right? And that is why they're consuming the content offline, right? So while for an airport user, when you do put in the context of the conversation into picture, we expect the click-through rates to go up to around 17.36%, which is the usual benchmark that we see. And even after, right, so let's say even when I am on an airplane mode, this also helps you engage with your users to say that, hey, did you just finish episode A? You have B also downloaded, so move on to the next episode, right? So it's a great way to say that we're with you at every stage of your journey, while being cognizant of not annoying your user even further to say that online or offline we're there with you. But it's a great way to be with them and get the content consumption high, right? However, for a shaky internet user scenario, right, ask a user to subscribe and download the content rather, right, for uninterrupted services again. There is another way to look at it, like, let's say if the user is actually on a free trial, and which is where he's watching downloaded content, right? in which case it's a perfect trigger point for you to go on and say, do you love to watch content offline? Subscribe to top it up with premium material, right? Premium content, right? So you get more options, right? Again, cannot stress enough to use rich media, carousels, videos for iOS users, sounds, fancy background colors, font styles, collapsible notifications. This is just a great way to boost your conversions and click-through rates. It's proven. It's going, like, even in rich media, it's important for you to experiment with varieties. It cannot just be images, but it has to be more than that in today's scenario, because images are yet again very common, right? So that is where I think, we could help the campaign conversion goal a bit better. But like I said, the thought is in the right direction, and that's great to see.